Hey, friends. It is your girl, Amy Plano, the reimbursement dietitian, here to simplify the reimbursement process for all registered dietitians looking to accept insurance. And today, I wanted to chat about EMR. So, one of the questions I often get is, what is the best EMR for registered dietitians accepting insurance in their practice? And like most things in the world of insurance, I don't have a finite answer, but I want to give you some tips to walk you through the process of determining which one is the appropriate one for you. So first things first, let's talk about the top EMRs registered dietitians are using. So number one, we have Practice Better, we have Simple Practice, we have Calyx, we have Healthy, and then we have IntakeQ. While there are a handful of other ones, those are the most popular ones registered dietitians are using. So just so you know, probably the selection that you're choosing from. Number two, you want to determine the functions that you are looking for in EMR. For me personally, we run a pretty bare bones back-end operation with an EMR. When I was looking at EMRs, all I needed was three things. I needed to be able to use an online scheduling widget. So I didn't want to hire somebody to do scheduling. I wanted all of our patients to go directly through the portal. I wanted to be able to collect a credit card before anybody was able to secure an appointment. And number three, we needed to be able to send documents in a HIPAA compliant, encrypted way in which we were not violating anything in terms of privacy. So those were the things that were important for me. Most EMRs come standard, right? So they allow you to document. They have a widget for your website. They allow you to collect a credit card. They allow you to dispatch all of those forms. Many of them come with an online scheduler as well. The other bells and whistles that you may need or may not need. So this is why I really want you guys to think about what is it that you're looking for from an EMR. Many of the EMRs allow you to run some courses in the background. Several of the EMRs have a fax. It may be an extra cost, but you may be able to tie your fax in directly in there. Some of the EMRs have a food journal. So if that's something that you're looking or you want to integrate, then you may want to go with an EMR that offers that. And then lastly, some of them allow you to sell supplements, something like, I believe it's like WellScript or FullScript. I may be botching that. So just think about what you want. Okay. In my practice, we just need bare bones. We need the things that I identified. But in your practice, you may not want other things. But just make sure that you're not paying for things that you may not necessarily be using. Okay. A lot of times they have different tiers when you come in. And I want you guys to be mindful of that. So while something may have a lot of bells and whistles, if you're like my practice, we just didn't need those. So we use IntakeQ and we integrate with Office Ally, which leads me to another point was, with the exception of Simple Practice, all of the EMRs that I mentioned do not have a clearinghouse built in. So in order to submit insurance claims, you need another system that you may or may not need to pay for. So the EMRs can run anywhere from probably 50 to 100 plus bucks per month, right? So if you have a team like me, you're going to be paying per user. And then you need a clearinghouse. Simple Practice has a clearinghouse built inside, so everything is one and done. So from an insurance-based standpoint, it is fairly simple to use Simple Practice. It doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles, but it has the basics. When you use something like Calyx or Healthy or even IntakeQ, Practice Better, you need to have a clearinghouse, which you may need to pay for depending upon the insurance companies you're submitting to, and it may be an extra cost. So most of us use Office Ally. That is $35 per user. So if you have a group practice, you're going to be paying 35 times the number of users in your practice on that clearinghouse. So once again, it's not a downside, it's just different, right? Simple Practice is pretty bare bones, which is not a bad thing. And everything is in there. But if you wanted to run a course or you wanted to use FullScript, I do not believe it integrates with that. So we need to think about the insurance piece, but I want to be very clear that if you choose an EMR aside from Simple Practice, which is totally cool, you're going to need a clearinghouse to submit your claims, which is totally cool. And those are things I teach in my group coaching program, but I want you guys to be aware because I don't think it is self-explanatory. You know what I mean? If you don't know what you're doing, it can be super overwhelming. Some other tips. Most of these EMRs have a trial. You can check them out and they're free. So I would probably pick 2 after you've determined the functions that you want and do a free trial just to see kind of the user friendliness of it and if you like the platform. Another piece which is key is almost all of these platforms have affiliate links. And so if you know another registered dietitian who's using a particular platform, you can generally go into the public Facebook pages and solicit that because somebody can give you your code and then usually you get a discount and they get a discount based on that initial subscription. And in terms of subscriptions, I wanted to just chat about that for a second. I would honestly, even though it's generally a better deal, you generally save money if you pay for the full year. Because there's a learning curve to these EMRs and you may not love the particular EMR you start using, I would really pay monthly, even though it's going to be a little bit more. That way you're not locked in if you don't want to use a particular EMR. The nice thing about these EMRs is that, not that I recommend this, but you can download the data from one and bring it into another one if you decide the one that you're using you don't love. So we did that a couple times. And that was really helpful. So just because you're using one and all your data goes into one, a lot of the times you can transfer it over. And lastly, and then I will shut up, there is a learning curve for all of this. And so no matter what platform you're using, it's going to take a while. And it's going to be frustrating. But in my experience, a lot of these EMRs have really great training videos. And so if you get stuck, you can go into like the library and punch in your question, and they'll generally walk you step by step on how to do it. So that is the nice thing about most of these EMRs is that while they may or may not be intuitive, there is a lot of different types of support to get you up to speed. But just like anything in the world of business, it is going to take a while to get used to that EMR, but it's going to make your life so much easier, which is going to be the great part. Obviously, in my coaching program, I teach how to use all of these different EMRs. Personally, I've used them all. I don't have a favorite. Like I said, right now we're using IntakeQ and we use Office Ally. It's totally sufficient. Simple Practice is a great one. Practice Better is a great one. Healthy is a great one. It just tends to be more expensive. So it's really going to depend on what you're looking for. But in my coaching program, obviously, we walk you step by step through the billing process, and we can help you on any EMR because for good or for bad, I've used them all. So I'm going to shut up now. I want you guys to go back to build your empire. As usual, if you guys have questions on EMRs, drop them below the video or let me know, and I'm always happy to help. So peace out, Reimbursement Dietitian. See you guys on the next video.